Here I'm going to show you how to use the DESMOS matrix calculator in order to multiply matrices. If you go to desmos.com/matrix, that's where you can do this. So first, if we look at the first problem on the left, it says if B, and it defines that matrix, and then it says then 5 times B is 5 times that matrix. Now you can definitely do this in your head. You're just taking each number in the matrix and multiplying it by 5. I just want to show you how you can use the DESMOS calculator for this if you prefer. So first you need to define the matrix. So if I click New Matrix, it's calling it Matrix A just because it's the first one I'm entering in the calculator. This problem says Matrix B, it doesn't matter. Same thing. This Matrix B has 3 rows and 4 columns, so I change the rows to 3 and the columns to 4. Then I start typing in my numbers. You can use the keyboard here and a mouse. I prefer to type on my keyboard and use the tab button to get from one space to the next. So if you could bear with me here. Once you have it entered, then you want to create a new line so you can tell it to multiply this matrix by 5. To get that new line, you press the return button, that blue button in the bottom right corner with the arrow, and it gives us a new line. Now I'm going to tell it I want it to do 5 times A. And there's our answer. You can just leave this here. If you press return, it'll get you a new line, and we can move on to the next problem. So here I have 2 matrices that I'm multiplying together. This takes a little bit more work, so using this DESMOS calculator can be helpful. So it's important to know that the number of columns on your first matrix must equal the number of rows in your second matrix. Otherwise, it will give you an error and tell you you can't multiply it. And I'll show you that here in a minute. So I'm going to define my 2 matrices. So my first one is 3 columns. So let's enter that in. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, -1. Then I'm going to click Add a New Matrix. And my next one is 3 rows and 4 columns. And so if I enter that in, make sure, double check your numbers that you entered them incorrectly, and then press the return button, the bottom right blue button with the arrow to get a new line. Now I can tell the calculator I want it to take B and multiply it by C, and it gives me the answer. Now let me just demonstrate. If instead I wanted to do C, the matrix C, multiplied by B, it's going to tell me I can't. And if you click on this, it says you cannot multiply numbers unless they have compatible dimensions.